Morning everyone, and I'm glad to have you all here with me. My name is Michael Vass. I'm the president of MV Consulting Incorporated, and today I want to take an opportunity to introduce you to Tim Roberts, who's also known as T.R. Roberts. He is running for the Broome County Sheriff's position in the election this year, and I'm just very grateful that we were able to get him away from the campaign trail and his other duties and responsibilities. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, Michael.
No problem at all. Tim, I want to start off with something that, I don't know how many people know this, but you have an incredible history. It's been extraordinary. When I was researching for this interview, I looked back and I noticed that you've had 4 decades of experience both as a police officer on the state, and local levels, but you've also been in the military, serving in the Navy and in the Army, the Reserve. You've been a major. You've done a lot. You were the first chief of police in Deposit, and you were the second black policeman in Binghamton, New York. This is going back into the 70s. It's incredible. You've had a life dedicated to serving the people, and I want to thank you for that. I mean, on all levels, as a former military man myself, and also as just a regular citizen, that is a dedication, and I think it needs to be mentioned.
Oh, thank you very much.
But here's something that a lot of people don't get. Who are you? I mean, we all see police officers, we see men in the military, but I don't think a lot of people get to know, who are you? What is it that made you do all these things?
Well, a couple things. I always wanted to be a police officer. My brother was one of the first African-American New York State troopers. He went on the State Police in 1962, and that was such a long time ago. They still issued the motorcycle riding breeches and boots, yes, and the spurs to the New York State troopers. I wrote a paper back when I was in 3rd grade at Calvin Coolidge about wanting to be a detective in New York City. My family was from New York City. Mm-hmm. I was born here, Binghamton, born and bred. Inner city, 7th Ward, Susquehanna Street, right next to the Mayflower restaurant. And it just got more intense. I joined the Navy Reserve, went on active duty in the Navy, Southeast Asia, Europe, Caribbean. And basically I was commanded by individuals. After seeing their mode of commanding, I said, I can do that. Actually, I can do better. So when I did get out of the Navy, I went to the Army, went to Officer Candidate School, Fort Benning, Georgia, and became a commissioned officer. And rose through the ranks, 2nd lieutenant, 1st lieutenant, captain, major, promotable major. In 1968, I took the test for Binghamton police officer and passed high enough to get on. I went on Binghamton Police June 9th, 1969, and I stayed there. I mean, I was happy there. I was a detective. I had passed a detective sergeant's test. The opportunity came to go to New York State Police. That year that I took the test in 1973, 30,000 individuals signed up for the position for the test, New York State Trooper. 10,000 passed, and I was number 491 out of 10,000.
That's impressive.
With a 91.475. My time came. I had to go once again to another academy, the New York State Police Academy in Albany. And that was an extremely long academy because we had the 1980 Winter Olympics.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
So it was a 7-month academy. And I got out. I was stationed in Ithaca, Portland, Margarettville, Binghamton, Kirkwood. And it's just been, ever since then, I worked as a patrol sergeant in the village of Sherburne. I worked for Norwich City Court as an armed guard. And like you said, you mentioned the chief of police in Deposit, yes, from 2004 to 2007. I was approached in 2006 to run for Broome County Sheriff, and at that time I was happy doing what I was doing in the village of Deposit, so I declined. And a situation arose where I wasn't at Deposit any longer, so I said it might be a good idea. So I'm here. I'm out campaigning, looking for people to vote for me. The primaries on September 14th.
Right.
And the general election will be Tuesday, November 2nd. So that's about where we...
That's kind of where we are right now.
Yes.
Okay. I want to take another moment. I want to step back on something that I think is important for people to understand in a sheriff, and this is in your history.
Sure.
One of the things that struck me, besides the fact that you have several commendations, you have several awards from various departments that you've served in, but one of the things that really stuck out is the commendation that you received, the Medal of Valor and Life Savings that you received in deposit for talking. You had a young man with a .45, I believe he was trying to commit suicide, and you talked him down. What was that like? What was that?
It was kind of interesting. I was on my way to work, and needless to say, driving my own personal vehicle, and had a portable radio. I get the call from Broome 911 that there was an individual leaving Deposit High School bent on committing suicide. He was being followed by the school nurse, and the address, for various reasons, I'm not going to say the address, but it was familiar to me in Deposit. I said, why do I know that number? So I arrived there. They sent the state police also. And when I got there, there was no one there, and I heard a female voice. It was an apartment upstairs, and she says, he's up here. I said, you come down. I want to see you. So she came downstairs. I said, identify yourself. She said, I'm Mrs. School Nurse.
Yes.
I said, okay, where is he? He said, he's up right upstairs, first room on the left of bed. Starting up the stairs, and I realized, hey, guess what? I'm unarmed. I don't have a gun. And it was one of those things, well, I'm committed. Get to the top of the stairs. I looked at the young man. He's wearing a football jersey. He's a big young man. A couple things occurred to me. At my age, would I be able to control this if we closed?
Mm-hmm.
Because I did have a taser.
Okay.
But he had the 45 alongside his skull, and he would point it to his temple, and then he'd have it. I don't know if he had what he was thinking in his mind. I tried talking with him, and nothing. I got just a guttural. He wouldn't respond to me, so I said, I kept talking. I probably promised him the world. Probably promised him I'd buy him a new car. So I said, look, I'm an old man. Do you mind if I sit on the bed next to you? So nothing. So I sat on the bed.
Yeah, excuse us for the interruption. I'm sorry. Fun of being in a home office. No, you were mentioning that.
At that point in time, I was sitting on the bed next to the subject. And I kept sliding, getting closer to him, keeping in mind that the weapon was a Glock. There are 3 passive safeties in the Glock. The first one, the minute you put your finger inside the trigger guard, you encounter the trigger safety. Each one, in turn, releases another. So he had bypassed the first safety by having his finger inside the trigger guard on the trigger. And I'm watching the syncopation, the gun's towards him, away from him, and I'm thinking, I could tase him, but if I catch him in this mode, the reactions, I'm going to force him to shoot himself.
Right.
So I said, not a good thing. So I keep talking to him, and it gets to the point I said, you know, Darren, I keep getting closer to him, and I'm thinking, God, I really don't want him to commit. So I just keep talking to him. Finally, it's doing no good. He's not acknowledging me. So I said, it's time to act like the father. I almost used his name. I said, hey! I used his name. Put that goddamn gun down. It's like I slapped him.
Right.
He woke up, he looked at the gun in his hand like he didn't know what he was doing. He says, oh my God, what am I doing? Set the gun down. I reached over and grabbed it, hit the mag release, locked the slide to the rear. And I said, come here, kid. I hugged him and I said, look, there are people outside. I'm not going to embarrass you by putting handcuffs on you, but I want you to walk outside with me. You're going down to Binghamton General Hospital to CPAP. You've got some problems, son. You shouldn't be thinking about this. So we got him outside, and the state police investigator and the state troopers are outside, and unbeknownst to me, they had a ride, but when they didn't see the deposit car,
right,
they're thinking I wasn't there, not knowing I had my own
personal.
Yeah. So that's kind of the end of that story. It was kind of interesting.